7 boys from a small beginning with a dream no one could see yet. No fame, no stage, no guarantee of success, just passion, struggle, and an unshakable belief that something bigger was waiting for them. They were told it was impossible. They were ignored, doubted, and underestimated. But they didn't stop. Step by step, song by song, stage by stage, they turned pain into music and dreams into reality. And slowly, the world began to listen. From small practice rooms to massive stadiums, from silence to a sea of voices singing their names, they became more than artists. They became a message, a story of hope, growth, and believing in yourself no matter what. This is the story of BTS. Before the lights, before the fame, before the world knew their names, there were just 7 boys with a dream that felt too far, too big, and almost impossible. They didn't start on big stages. They didn't start with cheers or applause. They started in small practice rooms where the only sound was music, footsteps, and endless effort. Day after day, night after night, they trained when no one was watching. They failed, they fell, they got tired, but they didn't stop because somewhere inside them, there was a belief stronger than doubt, a belief that their story was not over yet. While the world stayed silent, they kept building something only they could see. And that is where it all began. Then came the real test. The world didn't welcome them with ease. It tested them. Small stages, empty seats, and moments where their voices felt like they were echoing into nothing. There were days when nothing seemed to move forward, days when exhaustion felt heavier than dreams. But even in those moments, they kept showing up, because giving up was never part of the story they were writing. They weren't perfect, they weren't the biggest, and they weren't the most noticed. But they were determined, and that determination became their strength. Then came the first step into the world, their debut, a moment filled with hope and fear all at once. Standing on that stage, under unfamiliar lights, they gave everything they had, not knowing what would come next, but knowing they had already begun something real. The beginning was not easy, but it was theirs, and even if the world was still quiet, their story had already started to speak. Moving smoothly from struggle and debut and building energy into stadium-level impact. Then, something began to change. At first, it was small, almost unnoticeable. A few more listeners, a few more voices singing along, a few more people starting to pay attention. Step by step, their music began to travel farther than they ever imagined. Songs that carried pain, hope, and honesty started reaching hearts around the world. And slowly, silence turned into sound. Then came the first wins. Moments they once only dreamed of suddenly became real. Standing on stage, hearing their names being called, it felt unreal, like a dream they were still trying to wake up from. But it wasn't a dream. It was the result of every night they didn't give up. Every fall they got back up from. Every moment they kept going, even when it was hard. And as their story grew, so did their voice. Louder, stronger, impossible to ignore. Concerts became bigger, crowds became endless, and suddenly the world wasn't just watching anymore, it was singing with them. From small rooms to massive stadiums filled with light, their journey had become something far bigger than music. It had become a movement, and this was only the beginning of the world finally noticing. And then the world opened its eyes. What once felt distant suddenly became global. Their music crossed borders, languages, and cultures. But what stayed the same was the feeling. A feeling that no matter where you were, you could understand them. From Korea to every corner of the world, their voices were heard. Stadiums that once seemed impossible to fill were now glowing with millions of lights. A sea of purple stretching farther than the eye could see. People who had never met, singing the same words, feeling the same emotions, standing as one. It was no longer just music, it was connection. It was energy. It was history being written in real time. Every stage became bigger. Every performance became louder. Every moment became unforgettable. And yet, behind all the lights, they were still the same 7 boys, grateful, grounded, and overwhelmed by how far their dream had come. But the world wasn't done yet, because this wasn't just a moment of fame, it was a global impact that would continue to grow beyond imagination. How calm, meaningful, and perfect for slowing the energy after the global hype. But after all the noise, after all the stages, after all the lights, something deeper began to shine through. Their music was no longer just about success or fame or records. It became something more, something human. They began to speak about things that weren't always easy to say, about pain, insecurity, fear, and self-doubt. And in doing so, they gave others the courage to face their own. Through their songs, they reminded the world of something simple but powerful, that it's okay to be yourself. It's okay to fall, to struggle, to feel lost, and still keep going. Because even in your hardest moments, you are not alone. Their words became comfort for millions, a voice for those who couldn't speak, a light for those walking through darkness. And slowly, music turned into healing. Every lyric carried a message, every stage carried emotion, every moment carried meaning. They weren't just performing anymore, they were connecting, heart to heart, soul to soul, and in that connection, they became more than artists. They became a message the world needed to hear. And after everything, after the struggles, the silence, the rise, and the message, their story became something eternal. From 7 boys chasing a dream to a name the whole world now knows, they built something that will never fade, not just because of awards or records or stages, but because of what they gave to the world. Hope, strength, and the belief that even the smallest dream can become something infinite. They stood on the biggest stages in the world, but never forgot where they started. And in every song, every performance, every moment, there was always one thing that stayed the same: their heart. And now, their journey is no longer just theirs. It belongs to everyone who believed, who listened, and who grew with them. Because stories like this don't end. They live on in music, in memories, and in the hearts they touched. From 7 boys to a legacy that will last forever. This was BTS. And that brings us to the end of this story. But legends like this never really end. Thanks for watching. Until next time.